We have to have a Liberal Party that respects modern Australia, that reflects modern Australia, and that represents modern Australia.
They really love giving women the leadership when it's an absolute shit sandwich. That's the truth of it, which is a little counterintuitive to the extent that not always, but a lot of the time, there are signs that running female candidates, particularly in marginal seats, can actually be pretty successful. They don't tend to let women have a crack at it until basically sometimes it's the job that no one else wants.
First, let me introduce my alter ego, Tina Lena Turner, and this is worth a fair bit of cash.
I don't think there's any real guarantee that this is a leadership situation that's going to have longevity. That said, Sussan Ley is a pretty resilient person, and she's certainly shown in her career in the past that she can rise from the ashes. For a long time, the Liberal Party gave the ALP a lot of flack for its quotas and its commitment to getting to 50% women. I think now, when you actually look at the makeup of the MPs on the floor of Parliament, I think it's more than 50%. Now, you wouldn't want to put Labor's electoral success down to that, entirely, but it clearly isn't hurting.
It's a great honour to be asked to lead your party, and it's an historic occasion to have the first woman lead the Liberal Party.
I think that they have to show symbolically that they've changed, that they've got women in leadership positions. I mean, the history of women in cabinet within the Liberal Party over the last 2 decades is a very poor one. You go right back to the Tony Abbott years, where for a long time they had one woman, Julie Bishop, and they had all sorts of excuses of why they couldn't improve that, and really a lot of them were really pretty flimsy. And if you look at business and corporates, they've gone through this process way ahead of the Liberal Party. They've gotten to the point where they have basically said in a lot of cases, just like we promote blokes sometimes when they're not quite ready, we're going to promote women. We're going to see how they go. We're going to support them, but we're going to get them into those leadership positions, and we're going to see how they go.
And I knew that nobody in Canberra understood what life was like in the small rural community where I came from. And that fired my determination to walk into the government party room.
And it would be absolutely silly and foolish to judge every woman by one woman. There's always going to be women that are good, women that are bad, women that make mistakes in the same way that male leaders do. And so that's always the tricky one. And, sometimes within the Liberal Party and the Labor Party too, it's women that line up first to attack other women and basically suggest that, if anything goes wrong with a woman who's leader, that it's some sort of argument against having women. Or they argue that if a woman gets a job, it's not on merit, whereas there's some sort of assumption that if a man gets the job, it is on merit. I think you would be foolish to suggest that the Liberal Party is 100% united behind Sussan Ley. They're just not. They're going to be divided. They're going to have different views about the way forward, and that's going to be a really tricky and challenging issue for her to manage.